Morning grind with pork rinds.
Welcome to the show.
It is a Rally Towel Tuesday right here on the Morning Rant. Welcome in, folks. A state championship edition of the show right here on a Tuesday morning in North Georgia. What's up, North Georgia? Dave Garner with you till 11 o'clock this morning, and I am joined by, normally on Tuesdays, I've got my man Billy D in studio, but he had a few things going on here today. The day after a holiday sometimes for all of our business folk out there can be kind of hectic. You're trying to get your feet back under you. So Billy out of pocket this morning, but I've got my normal Thursday co-host in here on Tuesday, and really it's perfect timing because, again, he's a guy that has followed high school sports throughout North Georgia for many years now, and he joins us right here on the program, not only for our Tailgate Thursday, but also today we are double dipping with my man, the Golden Boy, Will Cooper. Welcome to the program right here on a Rally Towel Tuesday, partner, presented by your friends at Geiger Legal Group. Coop, man, you're looking kind of like I am this morning, man. A little tired.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. That's the boost that I needed to start off my short week.
Got to give you a confidence boost, yeah.
Yeah. No, look, it's great to be with you, man. Obviously, I appreciate the invite and especially good tidings on what happened yesterday. So great job by you and Art making the call. And, whether people are upset about the final play of the game or not, up here we think it's a great idea. I'm sure in Troup County they disagree, but all that matters is what was called.
It's one of those things, and we'll talk about it a little bit. We'll kind of walk you through it. We've got a lot of ground to cover here over this next hour. We are going to talk about the Braves. We're going to keep our Tomahawk take on Thursday, and we will revisit the Braves. But we do have Will Cooper in here, who is our Braves insider, so we will definitely chop it up and talk about the Braves here a little bit on this show. We'll revisit, NBA, NHL playoffs. Our Coca-Cola text line is already popping off this morning. Again, Jasper Coca-Cola text line is open, 866-888-0744. And we're going to get to that here in just a moment as we continue to hear from people, and we'll address a few things that have come across the text line there. But yeah, back to last night for just a moment as we kind of start out the show. I got home about midnight last night. Was kind of keyed up, though. Didn't get to bed till a little bit later than I'm used to. And you know me, I'm an old man. So, midnight is about 3 hours past, bedtime on a typical weeknight for me right now. But it was a lot of fun. It was well worth it. Of course, Saturday, I kind of had the feeling, and I'll be totally transparent with you, I did not have a good feeling going into yesterday simply because of how Saturday night ended. You kind of felt like, the Dragons were 3 outs away from a state championship, and then the seventh inning, the final inning, the wheels fall off. Troup County staves off elimination. They keep their season alive. And at that point, you could just see the body language after the game. Like, you could tell Troup County thought, man, now we're ready. We're going to come back on Monday with a short bus trip. We're going to make Pickens take the long bus trip to get back down here on Monday. And you kind of had to wonder what the psyche was going to be, right? You had to wonder how the attitude was going to be. But I can tell you that prior to the game yesterday, and we hope that everyone had a good, long, extended weekend. Once again, our thoughts and prayers certainly with those folks currently serving our military, keeping us safe all around the world, as we remember those who paid the ultimate sacrifice, of course, for our freedoms yesterday on Memorial Day. But being down there, I can tell you that the Pickens Dragons were a team very loose, hyped up, making a lot of noise, pregame warm-ups, out in the outfield, huddling together. Did not seem like a team that was tight, like, oh, man, here we are in a, the largest stage in the state, a decisive Game 3, the if game being played. It's almost as if they were relaxed. And Troup County, again, business as usual. They've been there before. They were the defending state champs. And so going into the game, you kind of had to wonder how things played out. The remarkable thing, though, Coop, is that the Dragons only had 2 hits on the night. And they were both in the first inning, basically. They had one later. They actually had one in the seventh inning, I believe, as well. But really just the one hit there in the first inning. They had a walk. They had a guy on an error, got a hit, drove in 2 runs, and that was it. And who would have thought at the time that would have stuck? Because as you know, it obviously didn't stick Saturday night in the 1-0 game. But who would have thought that those 2 early runs in that ball game last night would have stuck? And just what an absolute gutsy pitching performance by Everett Grubbs, who comes in, Art Mosley, of course, had coached him in youth, basketball. He knew the Grubbs kids very well, so there was a lot of familiarity there, which worked out great to have Art in the booth with me. But man, just the way it all played out, and then Robert Turner, of course, comes in and gets the final out there. But the emotion, just the way that this team, the resiliency they showed in the face of adversity, Troup County breathing new life coming into to Game 3 last night. But it was the Pickens Dragons that somehow, some way, found a way to close it out in Game 3 to win their first ever state championship. And not just their first baseball state championship, by the way, but the first ever male team state championship in Pickens High history. The only other team that had won a state championship at Pickens High School was the 1973-74 Pickens Dragonette basketball team. So, again, kudos to Adam Williams and the entire Pickens Dragon team last night. Of course, they joined the Kell Longhorns and Gordon Lee as a couple of other area schools, if you will, here in North Georgia to win state baseball championships. But I know you were listening a little bit, partner, but yeah, just a remarkable night.
Yeah, no, it's always great to see when you have adversity. And I think the thing that's different about the baseball series compared to basketball or football when we talk about playoffs in high school is that they do have that third game, second game. Right. Normally it's one and done. And it kind of compresses things when we talk about, the difference between a really good team and a really bad team. Right. Now in the playoffs, you don't have any bad teams, but the gap really gets compressed in a lot of ways. You saw that with Pickens, right? Great pitching, even in the second game on Saturday. Wasn't like you were thinking that after the first game of the offensive explosion that there was going to be such a dwindling of that even in the same day. Yeah. But, once you lose the pitcher's duel, I'm kind of with you. I was thinking, oh, man, that the mental side of that, you got two options with that. You can either be really, really upset and dwell on the fact that you didn't do it that day and you got to come back down. Yeah. Or it can, for lack of a better term, tick you off and you can come back and be ready to play again. Now, baseball is a hard game to play angry. It's not really a aggressive sport. Right, yeah. But nonetheless, it was nice to see and obviously a great story for the Dragons. And, Pickens has had a really kind of a revolution in their sports department over the last decade, I would say. Yeah. Where they've really become competitive in a lot of facets. And it's good to see that carries over to the baseball field. And, again, great changes. They have great facilities over there. It's been awesome to see for the Dragons. Yeah, and really all of our North Georgia schools, especially those quote-unquote mountain schools that traditionally, are not highly recruited type schools, especially at the D1 level, to have some of the kids that you have coming through these schools. Now, we've talked about it with Gilmer High School, with, of course, Jackson McVeigh now at Georgia Tech. Kiker, down at Tech as well on the football team there. And you've got a kid in A.J. Rice with the Pickens baseball Dragons headed to Auburn. So a lot of D1 talent. We see it on the girls' side as well, as we've talked about with basketball and so forth. So, yeah, it's a great thing to see. And we'll talk about it a little bit more later in the show there. The big play that everyone's talking about, to your point, was in the bottom of the sixth inning. To kind of set it up here a little bit, the tying run in scoring position at second base in the form of Davis Munkus, who was the starting pitcher for Troup County, that ended up basically going the distance. He retired 18 straight at one point, right? He did not allow a base runner from the first inning basically till the seventh inning. From the second inning, it was 1, 2, 3 innings. Second, third, fourth, and fifth innings, basically, and I want to say maybe even the sixth inning, were there were 1, 2, 3 innings. The Dragons did not have a base runner basically the entire game. They did all their damage in the first inning, but it somehow held. But Troup County had their opportunities. They got guys on base. Everett Grubbs is a guy that's known for, people are going to get on base against him, but he's been able to close the door, and that was none more true last night. But again, a ground ball hit back up the middle. Jennings Allen did a nice job to get to the ball, but he was unable to field it cleanly. Well, in the process, Davis goes to third, and the ball's on the ground, and they wave Davis around third. And the ball's still on the infield, keep in mind here, but it was a heads-up play. Jennings Allen regained control of the ball, fired a dart home to Jenkins, and they get him at the plate. Now, again, you can look at all the different images. There's a lot of folks that say, oh, he was safe. He was nowhere near safe. If you look at some of the side angles, you can see where the tag's applied. He's a foot from home plate. And you could even see that kind of live in real time.
it's about angles and kind of looking at things there. But nonetheless, I was kind of surprised they sent him. Now, he runs very well. He's a super fast kid. And I think they felt like they were going to be able to sneak one in there because anything outside of a good throw, I mean, if that throw was a little bit offline, he would have been safe. So, to the credit of Coach Glisson and Troup County, they took their shot while they had it. But it backfired. The Dragons were able to make the play at the plate to tag out Munkus to preserve what was a 2-1 game at that time, and that ended the 6th inning. And so they were left with the bottom of the order coming up in the bottom of the 7th. They were the home team. Troup County was. Pickens was the visiting team on the scoreboard, so they had to get them out in the bottom of the 7th, and they were able to retire 3 in a row to end it. But again, there were definitely some moments in that game where you look back and you think, wow, Troup County's really got to be kicking themselves. They were that close to becoming defending state champs. But the Dragons were also that close to closing the door on Saturday night and not having to drive back down. So a lot of different ways to look at it, but just a fun night overall. And I was certainly honored to be a part of it. I know Art was. A lot of folks, honestly, and it was over. The live coverage, of course, was over on 101.1, the Pulse, our sister station. We crashed the server. I mean, the app was basically maxed out. So we do apologize for anybody that was trying to listen online that couldn't for whatever reason. But that reason was because we maxed it out. We had that good a listenership. Folks were tuning in from all over the country as well. Looking at the analytics this morning, we had folks watching from New York State, Washington State, Denver, Colorado, all over the place. So I'm assuming former alum, checking in to see what happened there. But we do appreciate all the support. Our businesses, our sponsors were fantastic. Folks were messaging us all night long throughout the broadcast and certainly after it was over with. So just a lot of fun and a great event to be a part of. And we appreciate you guys hanging in there with us as well. Hey, we're already up against our first break. When we come back, we're going to dive into some Braves talk. Going to circle back and talk about some of the events that happened over the weekend. Give my man Willie Coop a chance to opine about some of this racing and some other stuff. And, of course, we will have our 100% chiropractic moment later in the show as well with our friend Dr. Keith Riggy from 100% Chiropractic in Canton. And we will have our restaurant inspection, weekly restaurant inspection scores later in the show for you as well. Keep it locked right here on this Rally Towel Tuesday edition of the Morning Rant, brought to you by your friends at Geiger Legal Group. We are the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the SportsPig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
Make your home's air healthier. Green Heating and Cooling can help by installing a Bryant Evolution air purifier just for you. Using Captures and Kills technology, this highly advanced MERV15 filter captures many select airborne pathogens. It also helps improve indoor air quality for both asthma and allergy sufferers by filtering air impurities like dust, pollen, and pet dander. Call to schedule an evaluation. Green Heating and Cooling, your top Bryant authorized dealer, whatever it takes.
Sit down.
Rally Towel Tuesday, presented by your friends at Geiger Legal Group. High school heavy this morning on a Tuesday, a cloudy Tuesday. A little drizzly, rainy. You can probably tell by what I'm wearing. I've got a little bit of a rain pullover right here on the program. But Dave Garner back with you right here on the Morning Rant alongside my man, the Golden Boy, Will Cooper, in for Billy D here on a Rally Towel Tuesday. Appreciate you guys being with us right here on the program. We were talking about the Pickens Dragons, state baseball champions, wrapping it up last night down in Columbus at Synovus Park, the home of the AA Columbus Clingstones, a Atlanta Braves affiliate right there. Great venue. Had a lot of fun. Now it's time to cheer on the Etowah Eagles. Again, they're over at Gwinnett. Their series kicking off, I believe, last night. So we'll see what happens there against North Paulding, a pair of area schools going at it head-to-head in the big boy, the 6A bracket right there. Congratulations once again to our friends at Kell there in East Cobb as they win the 4A bracket. Pope last night, I know they lost game 1, but they're still battling. I think they have the doubleheader today. They're playing 2 and 3, I think, on the same day. They got in 1 yesterday. The GHSA, kudos to those guys, honestly, because they've had to work around a lot of weather situations and different things. But Popa going at it in the 5A bracket. So again, a lot of high school sports. I know you followed Cherokee County sports, Coop, for a long time. Good to see Etowah back in there because they've kind of been a mainstay when it comes to championship. championship baseball over the last several years.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a long time coming. And I think, you know, it's been a Yeah, they have been. They've been, one of the most consistent programs in that world, even in their trip up and down from 6A to 7A, which I know is now compressed to 5A and 6A,
Right.
but this was back before that. But yeah, they've done a fantastic job as a program. Obviously, they have a slew of talent that we've seen come out of Etowah. Really since about 2014 is when their RAN really got going. So it's been over a decade of this.
Yeah.
Again, we've had a couple of years where Woodstock and Etowah, schools separated by less than 2 miles as the crow flies, they are, locked in, and they've played state titles against each other.
Yes.
So, that area, for whatever reason, produces great talent. South Cherokee County does a great job with it. Not to say that, Cherokee and Creekview and Sequoia don't, because obviously they do. But when you look at the real powerhouses in that world, it is Etowah and Woodstock for sure. Just year over year, again, for the last 15 years, basically.
Right. There you go. Let's keep with baseball for just a moment right here, and then we'll get to our text line. Again, the Jasper Coca-Cola text line open at 866-888-0744. Your thoughts, the Braves lose just their second series of the season the other night against the Nationals. No offense really in those final two games at all. They were off last night. The Braves opened a 3-game set on the road tonight in Boston before heading to Cincinnati. So a little 6-game road trip right here. But your thoughts on the Braves? Certainly, it's going to happen every once in a while. You hate it happen to a division opponent, but those guys tend to have your number a little bit. But your thoughts on the Braves since the last time we left off with you last week?
Well, I think it's one of those situations where you knew they weren't going to play, 75% winning percentage baseball all year. They would be the best team ever in the history of baseball in the regular season to do that. So you have to come back down to earth at some point. I think the frustration for Braves fans is probably when you look at the series you've lost, it's been to Seattle, who's really still struggling, has not found their footing offensively, and the Nationals, who are a great offensive team. I mean, they hit 4 home runs yesterday, first day out of the Atlanta series, and boom, they put up 8 runs by the 5th inning.
Wow.
It's a testament to the Braves pitching staff, but offensively is the struggle right now. You can tell that Drake Baldwin being out of the lineup's really struggling, without him. The lineup gets short. Acuna is not hitting the fastball at all. His batting average is against fastballs this year is below 200, I think.
And that's not like him at all. That? He's usually a pretty good fastball hitter. So, yeah.
Yeah, and then you watch at bats with Austin Riley, which I know he's coming around. He's hitting like 260 in May, but some of those at bats with runners on base, he looks lost. He's swinging at sliders that aren't even close. You can tell he doesn't see the ball well because he doesn't challenge. Even when there's a ball, 4 inches off the plate, he doesn't realize that it's not a strike.
Yeah.
Then it kind of feeds down to the bottom. Ha-Seong Kim has never gotten started off on the right way. Still waiting for him to get started. And then, even some of your guys that we've kind of valued as getting back, value for the amount of money we're paying them, they're coming back down to earth. Mauricio Dubon has lost about 20 points off his average. Ozzie had a 3-hit game on Saturday, I guess, was when they rounded up the series. Sorry.
Right.
But, he's come back down to earth in a big way. Michael Harris is still kind of there, but he's dropped about 20 points in his average. Matt Olson's had some really bad looking at bats. So, they're all kind of getting cold at the same time. Drake should be back relatively soon, maybe in the next couple weeks. So that'll be a big boost to them. But yeah, right now it's just trying to find some offensive footing.
Yeah, hopefully the Braves can refine their groove, man. Got to get that offense going right here. Acuna, kind of alarming, but man, you nailed it on the head, though, man. Drake Baldwin being out of the lineup, you can tell a physical difference in the run production. And, with him at the top of the order and now out of the lineup, you were hoping that maybe Ronnie could come in and kind of equal that out. That has not been the case, especially over the last couple games. But hopefully they can refine their groove in Boston tonight, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the week. When you and I get back together, we'll have our Tomahawk take. We'll dive in a little bit deeper into this pitching staff and talk about some other things going on there. Hey, NBA playoffs, the New York Knicks, is there any stopping those guys, man? They sweep the Cavs, they are headed to the NBA Finals as they await the winner of the OKC San Antonio series right there. But man, the Knicks, again, no problem as they stopped Cleveland last night in Cleveland. Again, 130-93. You know, you look back at that series now with the Hawks, and all of a sudden, if you're a Hawks fan, you're feeling a little more encouraged. I mean, you're sitting here thinking, man, you know, how bad did we play? But we were up 2-1 in that series. The Knicks have not lost since. They haven't lost since. They have just continued to breeze right through into the NBA Finals. Oh, my gosh, man, I can't imagine a New York Knicks team winning a championship. You'll never hear the end of it from those New York fans. But when you talk to people in New York, and I've got some friends up that way that I've talked to over the years, and if you ask them, if you say if there's any of the teams in New York that you would want to win a championship, who would it be? And, you know, the Yankees have won a slew of them. You know, the Mets, I mean, you think about the Jets, Giants, you know, we're big football fans here in the South. But a lot of the folks in New York will tell you, if they had a choice of one team winning a championship, it would be the New York Knicks. It would be the Knicks winning a basketball championship. And right now, man, they're on the cusp of that. I'm not sure there's any stopping them, no matter what happens over on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll caution is we've seen it in the NHL playoffs with Carolina, right, is that sometimes you can be so hot and then you're going to have to sit and wait for a while for the other series to wrap up on the other side. It's not necessarily advantageous for you sometimes. You can be, you know, rust over rest.
Yep.
With that being said, I'm not sure which team presents more of a challenge to the Knicks because I'm with you. I mean, they look like just a knife through butter. But maybe I would feel better about San Antonio because Wemby, you know, should be able to guard on the inside a little bit better, which was my concern in the Hawks series, and it kind of showed in the Cleveland series as well.
Right.
But OKC is also, you know, one of the hottest teams in the NBA over the last couple of years. So I don't know that they'll, you know, run the table with the sweeps as they continue on here. But yeah, I mean, the Knicks look like a very good team. They're shooting the ball unbelievably well. And, you know, again, law of averages says some of that will come back down to earth, but still, they only need to do it for 4 more games.
Just look at the back of the baseball card. There you go, man. I love it. That's my favorite quote from our Gold Boy, Will Cooper. Now, I mean, there's already people talking about, you know, is Jalen Brunson one of the best Knicks of all time if they win a championship? I mean, that conversation is already started amongst some of the fanatics up there in New York. Speaking of the NHL, you mentioned it. Vegas surprisingly up on the Avalanche 3-0 right now. Carolina gets the dub, I believe, last night over Montreal, so they lead that series 2-1. And that brings us to our Jasper Coca-Cola text line, 866-888-0744. We heard from Nicholas Ryder from Canton, who messaged in right before the show started today, and he said, what is the latest on the NHL coming back to Atlanta? Would love having the team based in North Atlanta suburbs make any difference in the team lasting long term here? Any ideas for a team name, if not the Thrashers again? I personally like the Thrashers. I mean, it is the state bird. I would love, selfishly, and I know a lot of other people may not agree, I would love to have that, the whole look, man, back. I mean, I think the logo still works. I think the colors, I mean, I think it would be awesome for them to bring it back, and that way it wouldn't feel like, oh, the third time in Atlanta. I mean, there would be a little bit of a, you know, reference to the past. So I'm all for the Thrashers, but now that's, you know, more than likely not going to happen. I'm not sure how the naming rights, I know the NHL probably still owns the rights to this and that and who can use it or whatever. I'm not sure how all that works. But I think that, you know, by putting it on the north side, if the team does indeed come here, I don't think it's going to hurt. Certainly, I think it's going to help because look what the Braves did. They know where their fan base is at. And let's be honest with you, if you're looking at the demographic of hockey, the north side of town is where the demographic's at. The Braves knew that. That's why they built the Battery in Cobb, because they wanted to be closer to their fan base. I think the same thing can be said for hockey. Now, I don't know how well it'd be if it were up and coming and having to go up 400. I know North Point right now kind of seems to be the leader as far as the bids go, you know, repurposing North Point Mall to put the arena there and all that. Not exactly sure how close we are. I haven't heard a whole lot lately, but I do think it's coming. I really do. I think that when there's $1 billion sitting on the table, I'm not sure that any league, professional sports league that takes things seriously is going to just be able to snub their nose at that.
Well, so first of all, about the naming rights, the NHL does own the Atlanta Thrashers name and the logo. Now, that is their discretion to give away. So it's not gone in the ether of, copyright laws with the old company that owned.
Yeah.
Right. So if we do get a team, they can use the Thrashers and have the logo back and the jersey designs back. And I'm with you. Even when they made them back in the early 2000s, to this day, they look modern.
Yeah.
And I love them. So I'm with you. I would love to have the Thrashers name back, bring back the jerseys, the sweaters, the whole thing. As far as the team goes, actually coming back to Atlanta, the NHL is very hesitant about putting back a team in Atlanta, kind of saying, we've tried this twice. We really need a solid plan. To your point, though, I do think that what they have realized, and probably the whole city of Atlanta, I think, is what the Braves did. And you see even when the baseball team isn't making a ton of money like last year, their real estate investment's so high as an ownership group for Liberty Media. I think that'd be the same thing with Thrashers, with the ownership group would say, if we do this development plan, like we've heard from Alpharetta coming, to your point, there's been a few different places that have been mentioned. Can we build a Battery-esque type place? Like the Nashville Predators are a perfect example of that. If you ever been to Nashville, Bridgestone Arena is just right on Main Street.
Oh, yeah, it's right there in the middle of, Broadway. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I think that's what that's what the hockey team is going to have to do, and I do think that they're making a commitment to doing that. And I think Alpharetta coming is probably an ideal place, to be honest. I think Alpharetta would be. Because you do have enough of money in the Roswell, Alpharetta area where people from Woodstock will still go, Canton will still go, Cumming will still go, and some people will come up from Marietta, Kennesaw for sure. I think it's a great place for the team. That's where most of the move-ins are, which, if we're being honest, as you get started in these franchises, you need the Chicago Blackhawks fan to come to the stadium so that they'll watch.
Absolutely.
And then you hope that the people from Atlanta actually show up at some point. But so I think it's in development. I've heard earliest would be like 2030. So, we got a few years, it's still all together, still on the table.
I think it's going to happen at some point. Like I said, I don't think the NHL, if they're even the least bit about money, which most sports leagues are, then I think they're going to eventually have to come to the table. MLB's also talking about expansion. There's a lot of things going on there. But hey, Nicholas Ryder, again, thank you for listening to the show, man, right here. Again, from Canton, checking in with us on the Atlanta possibilities of hockey returning. And I hope it does, man. I think that, and I've said this before, we're up against our second break, but the last time we had hockey here with the Thrashers, it wasn't because of lack of support why they left. It was a dysfunctional ownership group, and I'll say that till the day I die. I think that this group, the two different groups that were on the table, I think they've got their stuff together. It's an independent owner. It's not 9 guys coming together buying stock into a team. I definitely think that you're going to have the support there, no doubt about it. Hockey, look at Carolina. You've got sample sizes. Look at Nashville, like you just said. Carolina, the Hurricanes, it's one of the loudest arenas in the country. If Charlotte, if Nashville, if some of these other towns in the South can support hockey, then why can't Atlanta? We're even more of a hodgepodge and a melting pot of northern cities and other fan bases and things as well. As we know, we see that with the Falcons and so forth. So, again, I have no doubt, no reservation at all that Atlanta could support hockey if we're given the chance, and hopefully that chance will come. Hey, we're up against our second break. Again, the Sports Pig is on Facebook. Catch us on social media, the Morning Rant on Instagram. Our show is also available in podcast form, uploaded every day on our website, sportspigradio.com, and wherever you listen to your favorite daily podcast on both Apple and Android platforms, including Spotify and Podbean. I'm on Twitter at DaveGarner777. He's at Will24Cooper. Will with one L, and this is the Morning Rant. On the other side of the break, Dr. Keith Riggy from 100% Chiropractic and our restaurant inspection scores and plenty more coming up on this Rally Towel Tuesday edition of the Morning Rant, brought to you by your friends at Geiger Legal Group. Thanks for being with us right here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia. That's the Sports Pig app, but online at sportspigradio.com.
Financial scams are on the rise, and with AI, they're getting more and more sophisticated every day. If someone pressures you to act quickly, ask for secrecy, or request payment through gift cards, wire transfers, or cryptocurrency, stop. Legitimate financial financial professionals don't rush you or demand unusual payment methods. Before you send money or share personal information, slow down and verify. Protect your future. When in doubt, ask questions.
If you're suspicious of a scam, call the team at Foundation Wealth today at 706-278-0214.
Back here on a Rally Towel Tuesday, presented by your friends at Geiger Legal Group. Dave Garner in with the Golden Boy Will Cooper here on a drizzly, rainy Tuesday morning in North Georgia. A little bit of rain expected throughout the afternoon there, but hey, it's all good, man. A little bit of sunshine climbing over Pickens High School this morning as the Dragons are state baseball champions in Class 3A. Congratulations. Also, Gordon Lee up there in Chickamauga, our friends. They won the Class A Division I championship, and the Kell Longhorns in East Cobb won the 4A state title. So a lot of northern representation as we talk about with our high school baseball programs. And man, it's just a great thing to see as we continue on right here. Hopefully the Etowah Eagles and North Paulding, excuse me, North Paulding, again, another local area school as well. So, hey, whoever wins that one, we're going to have another North Georgia team emerge as a state champ. Also, the Pope Greyhounds, speaking of the East Cobb in the 5A bracket against Loganville. So, again, man, yeah, it's just great to see so many things going on there. Hey, one thing we do every week right here on Tuesday, we have what's called our Chiropractic Minute. And joining us right now on our Morning Rant Rally Towel Tuesday hotline is our friend Dr. Keith Riggy from 100% Chiropractic in Canton. And Doc, thanks for being with us right here, man. Hey, we were talking last week a little bit about subluxation, a word that I had to practice. Even Coop's raising his eyebrows like, oh, I'm impressed you're able to say a big word like that. I know you were going to say that. So, I mean, because that's you.
You beat me.
Exactly. But we were talking about subluxation and what it was and everything and how it affects the body and causes health problems. So back to that topic for just a second, Doc. What is you and I talked about it off air a little bit, the 90-10 rule. What is the 90-10 rule when it comes to subluxation?
So the 90-10 rule is only about 10% of a nerve's function is related to pain sensation. The other 90% is responsible for functions like moving muscles, coordinating balance and movement, regulating organs and glands, controlling healing and recovery, basically just maintaining overall body function. So that means you can have nerve interference and not feel pain at all. So the thing you got to remember, pain is often the last symptom to appear. It's not the first. So even if someone feels fine, distorted nerve communication may be affecting how the body functions underneath the surface.
All right. Yep. Definitely interesting right there as we talked about that. And the one thing, I mean, the spine is really linked to a lot of different things. I mean, digestive issues. I mean, we were talking about that because I've had some different things. And you were kind of walking me through it. I mean, there's some great charts that show kind of like where each level of your spine controls a different part of your body that you wouldn't think would be related, together. So it's very interesting stuff. How do subluxations affect athletes as we kind of bring it back to the sports world? Because we talk a lot about, chiropractic care, physical therapy care, all those sorts of things. Let's bring it back to sports and talk about how it affects athletes.
So for athletes, subluxations can be especially impactful because their bodies are under constant stress. Even a small misalignment in the spine can affect an athlete's performance, range of motion, and recovery especially. So, in fact, studies have even shown that many professional athletes get regular chiropractic care just to stay at peak performance. So subluxations, if left uncorrected, can reduce coordination, slow down healing, and even increase the risk of injuries. All of which can derail an athlete's training and season. So chiropractic checkups on a regular basis are key for injury prevention and optimal performance.
Yeah, and you were talking about a lot of professional teams now. I mean, they have a chiropractor on staff. Like, I mean, if you don't have a chiropractor handy nowadays in the sports world, and we see that even at the college and even the high school level for that matter, chiropractors kind of being on staff or at least being around to help folks get through certain things there. In addition to the physical therapist and so forth, and all the different team docs and things like that. Dr. Keith, man, how can folks get in touch with you, man? How can they find you?
You can find me on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Our phone number is 770-415-1336. You can also catch us right here on the radio.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, absolutely. Right here on the radio on Tuesdays, our chiropractic moment with Dr. Keith Riggy from 100% Chiropractic in Canton, Georgia. They do an excellent job down there. Shout out to Heather and all the folks as well with 100% Chiropractic. Coop, you're a young guy. Have you ever needed a chiropractor? Are you at that point in your life yet, or not?
Probably needed one at some point. I'm the kind of guy that typically, if it's not a sickness type thing, I'm a big man flu advocate.
Yes,
I get the man flu and I'm ready to go to the doctor. But I'm also the kind of guy that, if my knee swells up to 3 times its normal size, I'm like, it's fine. Let's get some Aleve in me. Yeah. Let's elevate ice and then we're going to be good. So, no, when it comes to that kind of stuff, I'm normally pretty, I don't want to say avoidant, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily jumping in the car.
Yeah, I get it. And I was always the same way too until I hit a certain age in the last year or so. And now all of a sudden the wife is like, no, you're going to the doctor. Like you ain't got a choice at this point. So I'm glad I've got folks in my life, and Billy D is one of them who normally sits in here with us on Tuesday. We made a bet a year or two ago, and I think I've talked about this on the show right here. He's like, dude, you hadn't had a colonoscopy yet, and you're over 50. Like, come on, man, And Billy's really good about his doctor appointments and things. So, he's been my accountability partner as far as getting to the doctor, as well as my wife. And so again, I appreciate that. Folks are looking out for you, and that's always a good thing right there. Hey, we were talking a little bit about racing, and I wanted to get your thoughts. I know you're not a huge racing guy, but obviously the Indy 500 this past weekend, the Coca-Cola 600, a lot of the Kyle Busch tributes continue to pour in. It was just kind of a surreal moment. I mean, my son grew up a huge Kyle Busch fan, a lot of memories, and gone way too long. But your thoughts on any of the racing that happened over the weekend? Did you catch any of the tributes or any of the things that went down?
Yeah, I saw a lot of stuff with them honoring the Bush family. It's unfortunate. Obviously, your heart goes out to them. I mean, even as much as people may argue NASCAR is not a sport or whatever, those guys are true athletes. I mean, those cars you have to absolutely manhandle around the track for hours at a time.
Yeah.
So seeing somebody who's in a peak physical condition like Bush was, become ill with something that you would think more as a older person disease or something that would affect somebody that is in less good health.
Sure.
But nonetheless, it just kind of shows that we're not really in control of when we go anyway.
Yeah, that's true, partner.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, it was good to see the racing community come together, embrace his kid, embrace his wife, and kind of show them the love and respect that they deserve. I know he's not always the most favored amongst others in the racing world. I know he was a bit of a fiery guy.
Rowdy.
And hear all the recordings.
Rowdy Bush,
yeah. So, but no, all of that being said, good racing this weekend. Obviously, the Indy 500 was a big deal. So I just hate to see what happens. You kind of feel like even when you're not a big fan of that individual person, those individual type sports still make you kind of appreciate those people on a different level. So
yeah, absolutely. On another note, I mean, the Indy 500, the closest finish in history, and they've been running that thing for over 100 years. I think it also had the most lead changes too. I watched most of it. I mean, I sat around, we had a late night Saturday night down in Columbus, didn't get home till 2:30 Sunday morning, and so slept in a little bit, but got up and enjoyed the race. And man, I mean, it was just that last lap was absolutely insane. Big John and I talked about it yesterday. A very close finish. Those cars usually don't do any kind of rubbing or anything kind of close, but that was just phenomenal. And I've actually been to Indy once. It was years ago. And the play, just to give you a perspective of how big that place is, there's actually a golf course inside the track, or at least part of it. I think part of the golf course is inside the track and half of it's, outside the track. But Talladega very much the same way. I mean, 2.5 miles around. Talladega is 2.66. I think it's the largest closed, course, circuit in the world for that matter. But yeah, I mean, you don't realize as fast as those cars go how much ground they're covering in that amount of time. It truly is amazing, and so a lot of fun, of course, over the weekend for all of our race race fans. Hey, by the way, we got a new race show right here on the Sports Pig. That's right. It's the Red Clay Rundown with our friend Steve Newbold and partner Will Rigdon. Again, Monday, Thursday, and Saturday right here on the Sports Pig. The show, 30-minute show, comes on prior to the start of our live Braves coverage. So, again, when there's a Braves game, on Monday, Thursday, or Saturday, you can catch the Red Clay Rundown right here 30 minutes before the pregame coverage begins for the Braves. And we'll nail down a little bit more of a permanent time slot for those guys as well. But if you haven't heard the show and you're a friend of dirt track racing, if you're a fan of NASCAR, man, you're going to want to tune into that show because those guys bring a lot of great perspective. So another original program right here on the Sports Pig with a couple of local guys, man, that like to chop it up and talk racing like I do. Again, catch the Red Clay Rundown right here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com. We are up against our final break on the program. When we come back, we'll dive into some restaurant inspection scores, seeing who's naughty and who's nice this week, and we'll talk about some other sporting events and things coming up as well over the next couple of days as my man Will Cooper and myself, Dave Garner, chop it up with you right here on this Rally Towel Tuesday edition of the Morning Rant, presented by North Georgia's #1 personal injury attorney. That's Geiger Legal Group. Let them tell your story today at 833-HELP-GLG. That's 833-HELP-GLG. When we come back, more of the same leading up to Chuck Oliver here at 11 o'clock right here on the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
When you get hurt from an accident, it can feel like no one is listening to you. The insurance company talks over you. The bills keep coming. It's like the pain and inconvenience doesn't even matter to them. But your story does matter. And here at Geiger Legal, we will make sure your story is heard loud and clear. My name is Casey Geiger, and my firm stands up for people who have been wronged through someone else's negligence. Let us tell your story. Let us get the justice you deserve, and let's start today.
Call Geiger Legal Group at 833-HELP-GLG. That's 833-HELP-GLG, and let us tell your story today.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your all-access pass to the hottest takes in the world of sports.
All right, so back here on a Rally Towel Tuesday with my man, Will Cooper. I'm Dave Garner with you. This is presented by Geiger Legal Group, North Georgia's #1 personal injury attorney. Is Geiger, 833-HELP-GLG, and let them tell your story today. So, again, we were talking a little bit earlier about hockey, and we had a caller or a listener texting to us right here on our Jasper Coca-Cola text line, which, by the way, is open at 866-888-0744. Again, that's 866-888-0744. That's 0PIG for the pig. And, man, I'm all about hockey, man. I'm ready for it to happen right here on the in the city of Atlanta, just so we can have another mediocre team to talk about probably for the next decade or two. Who knows how it is, but it just goes to show that even when the Thrashers were here, man, they had one good year. I mean, they had like one playoff year, I think, but they still packed it out, man. They still had the crowd, so I definitely think we have enough support right here to keep it going. Once again, we talked about high school baseball earlier in the show. The Pickens Dragons winning the state championship last night. You could hear it all live over on our sister station 101.1, the Pulse, and a lot of follow-up to do. We will try to get an interview with Coach Adam Williams later in the week, try to get a little bit of sound there. We'll have some different folks that we'll hear from later in the week right here on the program. Our man Steve Lau, who is down there for a good bit of it, he's got a big pickleball tournament coming up, and so we're going to promote that a little bit later in the week and let you know a little bit more about that as the pickleball phenomenon continues in Georgia, because, man, it's taken over, man. It's gotten crazy. Do want to remind folks, next Wednesday we will be broadcasting live from 10 to 1 out at the John Davis Golf Classic at Bentry, benefiting the Georgia Mountains Hospice. Looking forward to an excellent event. That'll be next Wednesday, June the 3rd. I believe they're about sold out. They may have room for one more team or two. So if you want to get together a foursome and get out on the course and enjoy a great afternoon of golf for a good cause, then reach out to Gina Penley at Georgia Mountains Hospice, and they'll get you taken care of. And then a couple of weeks from now, on June the 19th, Father's Day weekend, we're going to have another Bradley's Brunch and Lunch, a big event taking place at Bradley's Bar and Grill off of Lower Roswell Road there in East Cobb. Again, East Cobb's #1 upscale dive bar since 1998 is Bradley's. And John told us yesterday, man, we're going to be We're going to be smoking brisket. I mean, are you kidding me? Like yesterday, they had free quarter-pound hot dogs over at Bradley's, and so I mean, just a lot of things going on there. But we're looking forward to a great day on June the 19th. Mark your calendar. If you can take off work that day on Friday, for Father's Day or whatever, come on by and see us. It's going to be a lot of fun there. And man, you had me at brisket. Hopefully, maybe we can get you in town, Coot. Wouldn't that be nice? I'd love for you to come hang out.
I mean, you mentioned quarter-pound hot dog. That was your nickname in high school. So
that's the man I know right there. That's the one I'm talking about right there.
I don't even know what that's supposed to mean.
Bring it, man. Bring it. Lay it on me right here. I need all the fat shaming I can get.
Oh, I don't need you to say lay it on me when we're talking about quarter-pound hot dogs, man. I mean, come on.
Oh, my gosh, man. I'm telling you. Hey, speaking of food, it's time now for a weekly segment right here as we talk a little more about food.
Time for this week's restaurant inspection.
Oh, it smells so good in here.
On the Morning Rant.
So, again, another weekly feature right here on the program as we do like to go over our restaurant inspection scores. This is brought to you by your friends at Eat Safe Cherokee. There's an Eat Safe Cobb, Eat Safe other areas as well. They're on Facebook, so if you want to know the restaurant inspection scores, because a lot of you, I know, base your meals and things off of like, man, what kind of inspection score did they get? You never, you see something in the 90s or the 100s, you walk right in the door. But anything less than that sometimes gets you thinking. And I am pleased to report that I think people know we're doing this now. Because the lowest score on the board was an 85, and there was only one of them in the 80s. Everything else was 93 or above. Congratulations to Smoke and Grill Concessions at Wellstar in Canton, man. Medical facility, 100. Chapters Living of Canton, a 99. Starbucks at Kroger and Town Lake Parkway in Woodstock with a 95. Applebee's off of Riverstone with a 94, and Pelican Snowballs off of Main Street in Woodstock with a 93. Congratulations to all of those places for balling out, and really no negatives to report this week. So that's a good thing. Folks, go wherever you want to eat, man. You ain't going to have to worry about it this week. Everybody take care of their stuff.
Well, it's always good. Bullying works. That's why when I run for president, that'll be my campaign headline. Is we're going to bring back bullying because public shaming works. Second thing, you said that Pelican Snowballs got 94. How does a place that makes shaved ice lose points on anything? I mean, it's water and sugar and
and purple. Sugar, water, and purple. No, I don't know. I think it's sometimes the ice machines build up mold or something. I mean, I'm not saying that's what happened here, but I'm just saying that there are different things with the ice machines. I think sometimes that do get points off if there's certain things that aren't maintenance or whatever.
With ice though, because isn't it too cold for? I mean, I get if it melts, then you would have a problem.
Well, yeah, but, there's some moldiness that happens. I think. In some of that stuff. Now, I will say this. This week's Cherokee County Recap is proudly sponsored by a place called More Restaurant Services, all right? And this is from the Facebook page. They don't sponsor this show, but they help restaurants across North Georgia stay inspection ready, cleaner equipment, better business, and the one thing they do specially, and I read this is why I know this, that their specialty is ice machines and removing mold from the ice machine. So apparently that's a common thing. And so I can only imagine if you get points taken off and you're dealing with the world of coolers and ice keeping, then maybe that's part of it. I don't know. I don't want to say that's what happened here. But yeah, hey, who knows? All scores come directly from the Cherokee Department of Public Health. You can follow Eat Safe Cherokee on Instagram at Eat Safe Cherokee for weekly local inspection updates. Again, this week's restaurant inspection brought to you by your friends at Papa John's and Ella-J. Better pizza, better ingredients. Order online at papajohns.com. They ain't got no problem with their ice machine. So we appreciate you guys being with us right here. Hey, man, this show is it's sports mostly. It's food, it's music, it's entertainment, and we got a few minutes left right here on the program. I was trying to come up, and you and I were messaging during the break, trying to come up with maybe a list to go out on because, I like to do that with you and Billy D. I was successfully able to name all the members of the Wu-Tang Clan last week here with Billy D on the last week's Rally Towel Tuesday. But I want to do something different as we're transitioning into summer. Let's do a little rapid fire real quick. And you're the one that came up with this idea, by the way, so I'm not going to take credit for it. You sent a couple of good ideas. Let's go. You sent 3 things. country artist, summer food, and beer. All right, so your favorite of each of those. Who's your favorite country artist right now, or maybe your past favorite country artist? Like, who's your go-to? And then your favorite summer food, and then your favorite beer.
Okay, country artist currently will go Red Clay Strays, very close second,
sweet.
Charlie Crockett.
Love it.
If you're doing classics, it's Johnny Cash for me. Glenn Campbell also in there. Summer foods, to me, it's got to be just a good old burger, man. I mean, there's so much you can do with it. And make it at home. Garlic butter burger, smash burger. I love it. And then beer. In the summertime, I'm a Coors Light guy, pretty basic. But in fall, I do love a Sam Adams Oktoberfest. It is the best Oktoberfest that you can find. And Sam Adams, awesome. Independent brewery.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of good seasonal stuff. They put out a lot of products seasonally. I like when people do that sort of stuff. Let us know what you think. Jasper Coca-Cola text line is open for a few more minutes live today, but you're certainly welcome to text at any time because it's always open, even when we're not on the air. Who's your favorite country artist? Who is or what is your favorite summer food? And what is your go-to beer choice right here on the Jasper Coca-Cola text line, 866-888-0744? Or what is your favorite Coca-Cola product? We'll do that since it is technically the Jasper Coca-Cola text line. So any of those will do. Chime in right now. Let us know. We'll read it out over the air if you want us to. And who knows, man, there may be a prize for participating here today. So again, text us on the Jasper Coca-Cola text line, 866-888-0744. Even if you're watching the show or listening to it on YouTube later in the afternoon or tonight or whenever, still go ahead and text it. The line is always open, and we'll talk about it on tomorrow's edition of the show. So let me play. Okay, country artist. Red Clay Strays is awesome right now. That's one of the big groups, of course, that we got over on our sister station, 101.1 The Pulse. We play a lot of Red Clay Strays, man. I love those guys, too. Absolutely. If we're going old school, in the summer, I'm going to tie in country artist with the summer here for just a moment. And I'm going to say Brad Paisley, man, because I've seen Brad Paisley in concert. I think he's a very underrated musician. I mean, he is an awesome guitarist. I mean, all those riffs you hear in the song, he's the one playing them. I mean, he's awesome. So I'll go summertime with Brad Paisley because of Water and all the, the different summertime fun songs that he has. Summer food, Low Country Boil. I'm going to go with Low Country Boil, man. What does that look for, man? Are you kidding me?
You're
Low Country Boil.
Keep going, though.
Are you talking about? I mean, there ain't nothing like in the summertime, man. When you put that table out there with the newspaper and you just dump all that crawfish, a shrimp. Now I know you're not a shellfish guy. Sorry, but the corn, the sausage, the potatoes. I mean, you throw all that on the table and everybody's standing around just picking at it, man. That
is a fall activity, bro.
Oh no, that's summertime too, baby. No, that's tailgate food right there, man. Trust me, we get,
which is in the fall.
Well, but we get down into summer. I mean, the Braves games. We used to do a summer tailgate every year for Braves games, and we used to make a Low Country Boil, and we had people coming from all over the parking lot to come get some of that. People were paying us, man, giving us $5 a plate. Some of that Low Country Boil.
Yeah, well, you're 0 for 2 on these picks, so let's see if you can redeem yourself in the third category.
Well, I'm about to be 0 for 3 because I don't drink beer. So I don't really have a – but, in the past, I mean, summertime – and again, if we're keeping a summer theme here, then I would say, man, nothing goes down like a good Corona with some salt and lime in the summertime, But, again, I'm not a huge beer drinker right now. However – I do have a few go-tos, a little bit of mixed beverage here and there, whatever. I don't want to get in too much trouble here talking about alcohol on the radio because I'm not 100% sure FCC allows that. But anyway,
hey, that's on you, not me.
Well, hey, you came up with the list. I'm going to blame it on you.
You're
be like,
hosting.
My co-host, man. I mean, he just, he got us in trouble this morning. No, I think we're good right here, man. We appreciate you guys being with us right here. We're out of time, man, right here on the Morning Rant. Will Coop, thanks for being with us right here on the program, buddy, as always. Bringing it here on a Rally Towel Tuesday this time. We'll see you again on Thursday.
Sounds good, partner.
All right, man. Again, listen to us right here on the Morning Rant, home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Big John back with me for a Winging It Wednesday presented by the Pub in LJ. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
98.1 and 93.7 The Sports Pig, where hot takes meet hot mics.